Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us for a very special web event. I'd now like to pass the floor to our presenter today, Shriram, who's the Director of Product Management with Mojo Networks. Today, Shriram will be taking you through the challenges that classrooms today are facing and how cloud-managed Wi-Fi can really address these challenges and help future-proof your network.
Hello, folks. Good morning. Thanks for joining the webinar today. My name is Shri. I'm the Director of Product Management at Mojo Networks. I've been with Mojo Networks for about a year and a half. And prior to that, I have spent almost 11 plus years in the wireless industry in various roles, including software engineering, technical marketing, and now product management. So today, we will we'll discuss why cloud-managed Wi-Fi why schools should consider cloud-managed Wi-Fi as they redesign their wireless networks. A quick look at the agenda for today's session. We'll start the webinar with a quick introduction of the various trends in school districts, some of the challenges for IT admins. Then we'll look at how cloud Wi-Fi will help some of those challenges better than how a traditional controller model would. And finally, wrap the session with a quick overview of our cloud-managed Wi-Fi platform. So let's look at some of the key trends and technologies that are driving the wireless infrastructure in schools. The first one is 1:1 device initiative. As schools start relying on digital content for delivering learning to the students, it is imperative that all the students in the classroom have access to some kind of device, be it a laptop or a tablet, to be able to access that content. Now, we've seen a lot of school districts already rolled out 1:1 device initiative programs where they issue devices for every individual student. And there are a lot of school districts that are in the process of rolling out this program in the near future. Now, these devices can either be issued by the school themselves, which is typically the case for lower grade students. And in some cases, which is more popular and higher grade, the schools allow the students to bring their own devices. So what is going to happen is you will see more and more devices attached to your wireless network, which can cause density challenges. Now, if you are an admin that is planning to roll out a 1:1 device initiative program across your school, you got to ensure that the wireless network is designed to support these density challenges. The second trend that we see is schools are adopting digital learning or digital classrooms more. Teachers are depending on digital content to deliver, as a primary medium of delivering teaching to the students. And what that means is, as digital learning becomes the primary mode, the wireless infrastructure plays a critical role in supporting those new technologies. And now, from an IT admin perspective, if you are rolling out these new technologies or these new initiatives around digital classroom, digital learning, you have to ensure that the wireless network is robust, is reliable, and it does not crash when you have all these applications running on your network. Because that will have an impact on the method of delivery itself. The third trend that we see is as more and more classrooms are turning digital, the teachers are relying on multimedia content, be it videos being streamed to devices, collaborative learning where students can present directly from their devices to the monitor. Teachers are relying more and more on these tools and technologies to impart learning to the students. And now, as you can see, some of these applications are highly bandwidth intensive. They consume a lot of bandwidth, which means the wireless network should be designed to ensure that they can support these applications on the network. Let's now look at some of the challenges that admins in schools typically face as they roll out some of these new programs. The first, which we often hear from a lot of school districts, is lean IT staff. Now, we, as we spoke to a number of school administrators, we got the impression that the school IT staff is not, there is no IT staff exclusive only for wireless network. Wireless is one among the many things that they do. So the IT staff is responsible for firewall, for configuring security, for managing the switches, for managing all the devices, including laptops, tablets that they issue to students, managing all the printers, configuring, setting up all the monitors in classrooms. So wireless is just one function of the many things that they do. So a wireless system should be simple and easy to manage, deploy, and troubleshoot, which becomes a huge value prop for the school admins. The second challenge is distributed locations. And that is because of the very nature of how schools are. So typically, a school district has a district headquarters with campuses distributed within the region. Now, we've seen the number of campuses could vary anywhere between 3 all the way to 50, depending on how large the school district is. So from an IT perspective, the way IT is usually structured in the school district is the IT itself function of the district headquarters. So when one of these campuses require support or require some problem to be resolved, the centralized IT would either have to send a person to the remote location or the remote campus, or they would need to have a resident expert in the campus itself, both of which are costly. So a wireless system should provide all the tools required to be able to monitor these remote locations, effectively manage them, and troubleshoot any problems if they arise, all sitting at a centralized location at the headquarters. The third challenge is, as the schools roll out some of these new programs, new technologies like digital learning, one-to-one device initiative, multimedia content delivery over wireless, the admins have to ensure that the wireless network is properly configured and designed to be able to support all those needs. So there are multiple requirements that admins should consider while designing wireless network. And not just those technologies, but there are different stakeholders that might have different requirements from wireless. For example, how do you ensure your students stay safe, provide some level of security on the wireless network? Some schools would want to deploy guest network for visitors and parents. And all these should be considered in a holistic fashion in designing the wireless network. Now, the last is limited budget. And since schools want to roll out different technologies, they have to invest in each of these technologies. And schools usually have a limited budget that they work on every year. So you have different pieces of the infrastructure competing for the same budget. So IT admins should always consider how to cost effectively deploy the wireless network so they can spare some of the budget to other initiatives that they want to roll out across the school. Now, having looked at these challenges, let's now talk about why cloud managed Wi-Fi is best suited to address these challenges over a traditional controller-based model. All right, so one of the first benefit of cloud is scalability. And for schools, what it is the admins can can add access points on a per need basis. So typically, schools purchase access points at the beginning of every year, at the beginning of the E-rate season, and they deploy the access points, during the summer holidays before the students come in. Now, that network is typically not changed until the next year, but there is always need to grow in future. What cloud allows you to do is you don't have to worry about pre-planning or ensuring that you have enough resources for the future. For example, in a traditional controller-based model, when you deploy the controller, and if you know you're going to grow your future wireless, you have to ensure that the controller can support the future growth, which means you're investing on something today that you're going to use in the future, which means your budget is going to go up. And also, if you don't plan for that future today, next year comes up, and when you want to expand, you have to buy additional appliances. You have to buy additional hardware. So either way, you're either investing on something that you'll use in the future, or when you want to expand in the future, it becomes complex to add capacity to the network. With the cloud, schools can scale in a very elastic and flexible fashion. And what we mean by that is the resources on the cloud can be made available on demand, and there is no pre-planning required when they roll out wireless network. So that's a huge benefit for schools from a deployment standpoint. The second biggest benefit of cloud is in the form of management. With the cloud, as you can see, there are no appliances, no controllers, no hardware that IT need to manage in the school campus. And if you look at the traditional way of deploying, which is a controller-based model, the IT is responsible for deploying those appliances, managing those appliances, ensuring that it's plugged in, all that is IT's headache. With the cloud, we move that headache to our cloud ops team. So all the appliances is moved to the cloud, and we manage that for the customer. Also, with the cloud, all software and firmware upgrades is completely managed by the cloud operation team. So for example, if there are new features that we add to the cloud, to a product, and if that is something that our customers would like to take advantage of, that can be made available very easily to our customers because the upgrade process is managed by us. Now, in a traditional model, the IT team in the school is responsible for downloading the firmware, ensuring that all the appliances are upgraded, ensuring that all the controllers are upgraded, which is a huge complex task given many other things that the IT works on. So we take that process and task completely away from IT and manage it on cloud. And finally, given that how distributed the deployment is with the district headquarters, multiple campuses distributed across various locations, in a controller model, you would typically have controller at every campus, which means you're managing each of those controllers individually. With the cloud, you get a unified platform where you can manage a large network, no matter how large, all from a single location. So you can push policies, monitor, troubleshoot across your entire network, no matter how distributed they are, through the cloud, which is not possible with the controller-based model. The next benefit of cloud is the simplicity that it provides to the IT admins. Now, with the controller model, when you start deploying wireless network, the deployment requires high touch, which means you have to configure the switches in a certain way, you have to configure the DHCP servers in a certain way, you've got to configure the, pre-configure the APs so that they can find the controller, etc. But with the cloud model, it's a pure zero touch. All that you need to do is plug in the access point in their appropriate locations, and as long as the access point get internet connectivity, they will automatically find the cloud, download the policies, and start functioning. It's completely zero touch with no initial setup. The second benefit from a simplicity standpoint that cloud brings to schools is that as wireless evolves in schools, there are going to be more and more applications that need to be enabled on top of wireless. So beyond wireless, it could be security, it could be a guest access, it could be some form of engaging with students, it could be multiple other things as the wireless evolves. Now, with the controller model, each of these services require separate appliances, which means now you have to manage more appliances, which makes your network very complex. And deploying those appliances is not straightforward. It requires a long-drawn IT process, and it's a project by itself. Now, compare that with how that can be delivered over the cloud. So on the cloud, all these services are managed by the cloud ops or the cloud. So these services can be made available just by the click of a button. So tomorrow, if you wish to turn on guest access, or if you wish to turn on security, that can be done just by clicking a button. Again, in future, as we roll out new features that you might want to take benefit of, that can be made available in a very instantaneous fashion without the traditional, without the headaches and complexity of the traditional controller-based model. Lastly, from an economic standpoint, with the cloud, the only component that you have to deal with is the APs, which is the only hardware, and the cloud subscription. The cloud subscription includes support, maintenance, etc., and all the services that you want delivered on top of wireless. Now compare that to the traditional controller model. There are multiple hardwares you have to manage. So the controllers are one, the access point, and if you want additional services, then you add up the appliances for the services. Now you buy licenses, which includes AP license, feature license from a software standpoint, and purchase maintenance separately for supporting the wireless network. So the whole process of purchasing can be is very complex with the control model, whereas with the cloud, we completely simplify the purchasing process. Also, most importantly, the cloud, especially the Mojo cloud, provides 40% savings over controller for a 3 or a 5 year TCO. Now, again, this 40% that you save can be diverted to other initiatives that you want to run in your campus, be it buying more devices to give out to your students, be it investing in more technologies to make your classroom digital, or investing in content learning systems that you want to roll out in your schools. So clearly, by going cloud, you can save, but not just save, but help fund other initiatives that you might have across the schools. So now that we've looked at the challenges and benefits of cloud, specifically for K-12, let's now look at what Mojo provides from a cloud perspective. So Mojo Cloud Managed Wi-Fi is the only solution in the industry, only cloud managed solution in the industry that provides an integrated access, security, and engagement solution. We make this possible by providing a suite of products, technologies, and features that enable these different solutions. So, for example, Mojo Navigator is our hierarchical management tool that allows schools to effectively manage different campuses, monitor different campuses, and in fact push policies on a per campus basis. Mojo Airtight is our industry-leading security platform, and for schools, they can use Mojo Airtight to ensure that students stay safe within the wireless network. Mojo Guest Manager, Mojo Canvas allows user to create guest network and engage with students or parents over the wireless network. Again, there are a lot of tools and features that we provide which enables us to deliver these compelling access, security, and engagement solutions for the schools. I would also like to introduce the C120 access point that we announced back in Jan. And so the C120 is going to be the latest of the Mojo access point family. It will have the latest Qualcomm chipset, the third gen Qualcomm chipset. It will be a 4x4 multi-user MIMO, Wave 2, which is the latest technology standard in 802.11. It will support 80 plus 80 and support high bandwidth of 1.7 gig and 800 Mbps on 5 gig and 2.4 gig simultaneously. So for school districts that are looking to roll out multiple devices or run bandwidth intensive applications like multimedia, or where you expect students to be online most of the time in classrooms, then this is a platform that you have to look at, because this will support high dense deployment. It will support the bandwidth required to run those applications. And this is the latest in the 802.11 standard. So from an availability standpoint, this is available from early Q2 2016, and it can be ordered today through our sales channel. Finally, I just wanted to kind of throw this out there. We are running a K through 12 promotion on our Mojo Cloud and the latest C120 access point that I just talked about. So we have a 1 year and a 3 year bundle with C120 at very, very attractive and competitive price. In fact, this is lower than some of the other offerings, competitive offerings with older gen technology. So for example, the C120 with a 3 year bundle is just $579, and that includes the C120 hardware, right? The latest 4x4 Wave 2 access point with the Mojo Cloud for a 3 year subscription. So just to summarize, we looked at some of the key trends driving the wireless industry, one-to-one device initiatives, more applications, bandwidth-hungry applications running in classrooms becoming more digital, all of which are going to place multiple challenges to the wireless network, including density challenges, capacity challenges, ensuring that your wireless is critical. And then we looked at some of the key challenges from an IT perspective as they roll out these applications. And we believe cloud-managed Wi-Fi is best suited to address those challenges much better than the traditional controller-based model. With that, I come to the end of my presentation. Erica, back to you, and I'll be glad to answer any questions at this point in time.
Great. Thank you so much, Sri. Wonderful presentation. And just to follow up on the slide that everyone just saw around the K through 12 promotion, we have uploaded a couple of documents to the handout section of the GoToWebinar panel. So you'll see there's the K-12 promotion PDF for you to download and reference. There's some additional details, and just so everyone knows, these are E-rate eligible bundles. So if that does come up as a question, those are E-rate eligible. In addition, we have an FAQ around E-rate. So if anyone wants to take a look at that, they'll just help you through the E-rate process. And additionally, there's a Mojo education solution brief. Just again, really talking more about Mojo Cloud Managed Wi-Fi and the benefits it can bring to education. All of these are also available on our website um, under the education section, but just wanted to pull those out for everyone today. And I'm going to go through a couple questions that have come in. And again, any questions you have, submit them to the Q&A panel, or you can also do it to the chat window. A couple questions here. Shri, what happens when the connectivity to the cloud is lost? Does it affect their access?
Great question. So there is no impact to the wireless network itself if the connectivity to the cloud is lost. And that is because of the way we have architected our cloud network architecture. So the access points are responsible for sending data directly from itself. So the user data never goes back to the cloud. And all the other wireless functions like channel selection, power selection, load balancing, roaming, security is all done at the edge of the access point. So cloud is a pure management platform which runs only the management plane. So from a user perspective, or from for schools, even if the cloud connectivity goes down, the students are not impacted. They still continue to use the wireless network. Access teachers can continue to deliver content over the wireless network to the students. There will be no impact absolutely on the classroom.
Okay. Again, another question came in here around the cloud. How does this subscription work for schools?
Sure. The way the bundle promotion works is, for example, the 3-year C120 bundle, right? Let's take that as an example. And the way it would work is, if customers or schools buy that bundle, they get the access point, which they own, and they also get a 3-year subscription on the cloud to manage those access points. Now, after 3 years, when the subscription ends, all they have to do is just renew the cloud subscription, and that will be much lower than the bundle price, because during the time of renewal, they don't have to renew the access point or the hardware. They just renew the cloud subscription. Does that answer?
Yes, I believe so. Here's a question around the C120 that you just previewed in your one of your last slides. You mentioned it's available in Q2. Is it available to order now?
Yes, it is. And if you look at the promotion again, the C120 is available as part of the K-12 promotion that we are running today.
Okay. In our architecture here, is the student data, is that sent to the cloud?
No, the student data resides at the access point. They are never sent to the cloud. They are bridged locally from the access point. And the only communication between the access point and the cloud is management traffic.
Okay. Another question here. As an admin, can I manage each school campus individually, essentially monitoring and doing push policies for each campus individually?
Absolutely. So one of the unique features with the cloud is what we call the Mojo Navigator. And what Mojo Navigator allows you to do is manage each campus separately. You could have a unified policy across all the schools, or if you want, certain policies to be pushed only to certain schools, you could do that. Or if you want each school to have different policies, that's possible as well. And again, from a monitoring standpoint, each schools can be monitored individually. In fact, you could assign administrative rights so that if there are administrators for each schools, they get to manage and monitor only the schools that they're responsible for. So all that is possible through our flexible Mojo Navigator platform on top.
Okay, great. Thank you. And there was the one of your slides, Shri, earlier, where you went through all of the features that are in the Mojo cloud managed platform. There's a question around: is there a separate license required for security features?
No. The beauty of this cloud is the security features are all the security components are included as part of the base package.
Okay, great. Looks like another question here had come in where overall connectivity or access in a particular area or geography is spotty or unreliable. Is there any assistance to bypass this potential problem and sustain connectivity?
Absolutely. So there are different tools that we provide on the cloud that allows you to get to the root cause of the problem. So the first is, using our Mojo Navigator, you can just monitor the part of the network that has a spotty connection on the problem, right? So now you're localizing the area of or area of wireless network that has a problem, and then we have tools like Mojo Packets that allow you to capture packets real time, upload to the cloud, and look at what could be potentially causing those spotty issues, spotty connections or issues within the wireless network.
Great, thank you very much, Sri. I don't see any other questions that have come in, so I'll just give it another 10 or 15 seconds. And just if you don't mind going to your last slide, Sri, I'll wait for any additional questions to come in. And just wanted to review with everyone who's attending the live webinar today. For all of those attendees who have never received a free access point or are not currently Mojo valued resellers or distributors, you are eligible to get a free access point. We have additional details available also on the website around the requirements and eligibility. We will be contacting you to confirm your shipping details, and all we need to do is just confirm your address, and we'll get that processed for you. If you want some additional information or you have any other questions, you can feel free to give us a call at the number on the screen or send us an email to myrep@mojonetworks.com. And I don't see any other questions, but of course you can feel free to reach out to us anytime. Visit our website, mojonetworks.com, and you can contact us there or download any one of the documents that, again, I uploaded into the handout section today. So I wanted to thank everybody for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us. We appreciate your time. This webinar has been recorded and will be available on demand for all those attendees who could not make it today. And I'd like to thank our presenter, Sriram, for taking time out of his schedule to present to us today. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful
afternoon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.